All right, welcome to lab number 10 of AZ-800, the final lab, where we're implementing Azure file sync. And we're actually doing it in such a way that we're first implementing DFS, distributed file system replication. And then we're replacing that with a file sync based solution. So we're here on our admin server, and we need to start off with installing the management console. And the way we do that is install Windows feature. Name is RSAT DFS management console, and of course include management tools. While that's installing, let's take a look at the lab files. My lab provider puts them here, but these are available from GitHub. And here we got the L10 deploy DFS file. And I edit it. I'm just quickly waiting for the installation to finish. It's done. So now over here we can run this script. So what it does is you can see that on all of the servers, it'll initialize our disk number 1. You might remember this from the previous stuff as well. And then we're doing a Samba share, and then we're installing the DFS namespace and replication tools. And then we're defining the DFS share here and adding memberships. So this should set up a DFS for us. All right, now it should be done. So one way to check that would be to run the DFS management tool. And then here under namespaces, we can add a new namespace. Should have root here. So now it's available here. And you can see that there's a folder called data. And that is distributed between the two servers, server 1 and server 2. Okay, so then let's add replication here. See branch 1 over here. And there we have the two folders that are both part of the same replication group. So what we can do is we can go to we can go to SEA SVR. Oops. One and data. There we go. And then let's create a file here. My document. And now if we go to SEA SVR2, oops, 2 data, we should have the same file over here as well. There we go. Now it has arrived. Okay, so let's move over to Azure. All right, here we need to create a storage account. Okay, so let's create a new resource group for us here. Storage account name. They're suggesting to use the current date here. East US is okay for us. We're happy with locally redundant storage. Everything else should be default. Let's go take a look at it. And then we go to storage browser. And then we add a file share here. Just call it share 1. We don't want backup for this one. Right, let's upload a file here. So we had a file 1 down here. I'm sure any file would do. But let's go according to the instructions. Okay. Another thing that we could do here is add a snapshot. There we have a snapshot made. Then if we want to connect to this file share, it allows us to show a script or create a script for that. And this is something we can copy paste into ISE and then maybe take a look over there. Do it. New one for that. Okay, here you see the share is under the storage name. This is the storage account name that we chose. .file.core.windows.net. So that means that it's a SMB, server message block share. And then if this network connection succeeds, then we're going to create a new Z drive from that particular share. So let's run this. Well, you see we should have a Z drive. You can check that quickly here and see that it is available for us, and we have file 1. We could also like add after this line something cool, and then see that it actually gets propagated as well. We can also look at properties here. And then see that there is a previous version of the file available from 4 minutes ago. Let's restore that one. And now if we open it, the deep dives should be missing from it. There we go, it works. Okay, so let's go back to Azure and start working with the sync service. So search for Azure file sync. Oops, sync. Oops, this is really difficult today. There we go. Resource group is our resource group. Then the name of the storage sync service should be file sync 1. We want this to be in the same region as our storage account, so that's correct. You just create with default. All right, that worked. So let's go take a look at it. Over here, no, under sync. We have sync groups. We can create a new one. Call it sync 1. And now we need to use the storage account that we just created. And then in it we have the share 1 that's going to be used. Okay, that's done. And then registered servers. There's currently none here. So we need to download the file sync agent onto the servers that we want to sync with this one. And then use that to register the server with this service. So let's go and take a look at that. And the one that we want is this one. All right. So let's put that from downloads to our lab folder. And then we have a script here. Where you can see that we're actually running that command in this case on server 1. Okay, so let's run the script. All right, so now you see we have to enter this command, this code to authenticate. So let's copy this. And then we need to go to Microsoft.com device login. All right, so now if we go back to Azure and we refresh registered servers, we see that server 1 has been registered with file sync. So one thing that we could do is go to server 1 data, and there is no file 1 text here. There's just the my document one that we did. So now if you go back here, sync groups, sync 1, we can add a server endpoint as the server is now registered. We'll do that with server 1. And then the path for that is sdata. You see already the new file 1 is over here. And you can see that there is this brown icon next to it. All right, so that works. Let's also add server 2. So this is fairly easy as we have the script here. And we're just going to update the server name to be server 2 instead of server 1. And then run the script again. And then we log in again. Now the script is done. So we should be able to find another registered server here. And yes, we do. Okay, so now we're in a stage where we're going to move over to file sync to sync between server 1 and 2. That means that we need to remove the DFS. So basically from replication, we just remove this particular branch. Yes, delete the replication group. However, this does not delete any data. Okay. And now we can add server 2 to our sync group. As a server endpoint. Again, it goes as data. All right, so now server 2 is slowly getting there. And if we take a look at server 2, we can see that the file 1 has been replicated already. We can also create new documents here. Now, this should first of all go to server 1 and then also to Azure. You can see all 3 files are here. And by now it's probably also replicated here. Yeah. Okay. So next, we can take a look at the cloud tiering functionality. Let me just go back to the sync group here. And let's, for example, use server 2 for this functionality. So currently cloud tiering is disabled. You can see that way we can control which files are actually on the server. We can enable it here. There are a couple of configurations. We want to enable volume free space policy. So we're going to tier files, cool files that have not been recently used, when less than 90% of free disk space is available on your local disk. Of course, this percentage should be something else probably. Then we also have a date policy. So any files that haven't been accessed in the last 14 days are going to be tiered into the cloud. So removed from the local storage. All right, so this would have now automatically start the tiering at some point, but we can also do that manually. So let's connect to the server. AZ-800. Here we are. And then we're going to create some big files. Okay. In S, data. Let's call it report. One.docx. And let's make it really big. Okay, and let's create a couple of more. 2, 3, 4, and then let's take the module for file sync, and it's under program files. Azure storage sync agent, storage sync management, server. Come on, let's that one. And now we can invoke storage sync cloud tiering. I need to give it the path, which was S data. So now it tiered all of the big files. So if we take a look at SVR2 data, we can see our files here. Take this one. Take a look at the we can't even see it here, can we? Yes, we can. LOM are the attributes that tell us that that there has been tiering involved. Okay. Again, we can also verify that this is actually working by going to take a look at the cloud endpoint. So the file shares here. You should be able to see the all of the full files. Very good. And then at some point, this should also be available in server 1. Let's see if this changes now. So let's see how far it got. The first report is already here, and then the rest is coming one by one. Then a little bit about monitoring this stuff. So they're saying that we could, copy over some files. They're saying that use Windows inf folder. This one. So this is like 40 megabytes. Okay, let's copy. And it was supposed to be copied to server 2. Oh, come on. And now syncing will start to happen because there are so many items. So let's go to Azure. Let's go to our sync group and then monitoring. You can see the files synced. Graph is still using the old stuff that we've been using. I think like under overview, we can also see that both of our server endpoints are currently healthy. Here, if we go to server 2, we get information about the cloud tiering status as well. And then under monitoring, you see the file synced currently. So this is now copied. This should be available here. Yeah, it is. And these should be updated at some point, right? So let's do a representation conflict. SVR1. And then let's have a new window. With SVR2. Okay. We can also see that all of the reports are now moved over to the cloud. So what we're trying to do here is create a conflict. So we'll create a new file called demo. Create the same file over here. And then we add some text here. And then we create some other text here. Okay, now you see under server 2, we get a new document called demo SEA SVR2 1. But yeah, there we go. You see we have 3 versions of demo. Demo SEA's server 1, which was the original empty file, and then 1.1, which is the one with the different text. All right, I think that's it for this lab. Thanks a lot for listening. See you in the next one. And the next one is going to be, we're going to do the scalable challenge labs. So yeah, follow the link to that playlist. Thanks again. See you in your next lab.